business now. Stephen back with us on set. We're going to start today with Snapchat, just publishing its first results since floating on the stock exchange, Stephen.
And it wasn't good news for the company. Snapchat failed to meet expectations in terms of earnings, but also in terms of how many new users the firm is adding, as it faces increased competition from Facebook. As a result, shares in Snap, which is the messaging service's parent company, fell by 23% on Wall Street in after-hours trading. It's certainly a big change since the euphoria around Snap's stock market launch, as Solange Moujan now reports.
Just a couple months ago, to launch their debut on the stock market, Snapchat's young founders were ringing the bell on Wall Street. It was a good day for the company Snap Inc. After Facebook's IPO, they brought in the biggest initial trading ever for a US tech company. But like for Facebook and Twitter before them, a cold shower was right around the corner. The Los Angeles-based company, known for its disappearing messaging app, has come out with a first earnings report, and nearly across the board, it has missed the mark. The number of daily users was 166 million, which was lower than expected, with a rise of just 36% from last year. Same disappointment for revenue. Snap brought in nearly $150 million. That's up almost 300%, but it's still around 10 million shy of projections. And then there are net losses of a whopping $2.2 billion. That's because of nearly $2 billion in payouts from the stock market debut. But even after these one-time compensations, there was still $188 million in adjusted losses. Analysts say it's likely the company, which has a loyal following from teens and 20-somethings, won't be profitable until 2019, in part because the 26-year-old CEO, Evan Spiegel, is investing heavily in new technology. Fielding questions about how companies like Facebook are copying some of Snapchat's features, he said, quote, "Just because Yahoo has a search box doesn't mean they're Google." The punishing report sent stocks down by 23% in after-hours trading.
Dramas there for Snapchat. What about the markets? How's it going?
European shares continuing to tread water really at the open today. These markets still hovering close to record highs, so we're not seeing any great movement as there isn't much moving the markets. Interestingly, shares in Safran are down almost 1% in Paris. That's after Boeing halted test flights of the 737 MAX aircraft, which Safran makes the engine for, because of problems with an engine part. So interesting to what's happening at that company today. Over in Asia, lots of focus on oil prices. They rose by 3% on Wednesday. They're up around again by 1% today. That's helping to boost shares across the board, as you can see in Asia, mainly on the Nikkei in Tokyo and on the Kospi in Seoul. A look now at some more of the day's business headlines for you. Net profits of the Italian lender UniCredit jumped by 40% in the first quarter as the effects of its turnaround plan began to take hold. Italy's largest bank by assets raised 13 billion euros in new funding this year, an operation that began as worries were swirling about many Italian banks. It's since sold off some of its troubled loans and begun cutting some 14,000 jobs. Shares in UniCredit up almost 4%. As just saying, Boeing has halted tests of its 737 MAX airliner because of problems with an engine part. The company says production will continue though, and it still plans to deliver the first aircraft later this month. Shares in Boeing fell by almost 4% on the news on Wednesday. And the sandwich chain Pret-a-Manger could be floated on the New York Stock Exchange. Pret's owners, the equity firm Bridgepoint Advisors, has begun discussions with bankers on a possible IPO. The company's sales rose by 15% in 2016 as it continues its expansion in the US, France, China and Dubai.
Got a question for you now. If you're having a crisis about being in the wrong job, you might just want to look away now.
We are looking at the best paid executives in the United States last year. According to Bloomberg, top of the list was the boss of Walmart, Mark Lohr, who was paid just under $237 million. Tim Cook from Apple was next at $150 million. Sundar Pichai from Google, fourth at $106 million. Elon Musk wasn't far behind him. Ginny Rometty from IBM also appearing on that list of top 10 executives. It raises a lot of questions about what we're doing with our lives, but we won't focus on that.
Yeah.
Especially after the 26-year-old boss of Snapchat.
You've got a lot of time still, Stephen. You could get there.
So don't we all?
I'm past it now, sorry. Finally from Stephen, anyway. Snoopy has been sold, and for more boom boom than peanuts.
You could say that Charlie Brown's moving in with the Teletubbies, actually. The Canadian firm DHX Media has paid $345 million for a majority stake in the Peanuts brand, which includes the characters Snoopy, Charlie Brown, and, of course, Lucy. The sale has been endorsed by Jean and Craig Schultz, the widow and son of the comic strip's creator. The family will continue to hold a 20% stake in the Peanuts brand. DHX already owns the Teletubbies and Inspector Gadget, and it's hoping to develop Snoopy and Friends for new platforms, including YouTube.
Good old Snoopy. I like Snoopy. It's rather cool. Staying with business on France 24.